Good evening, everybody. Match 8 of the 1995 Cricket World Cup was played in Rawalpindi today. This is Rawalpindi's first taste of World Cup action. It was a match between India and New Zealand. India looking to bounce back after a disappointing defeat against Sri Lanka. New Zealand looking to build on their professional performance against Zimbabwe. And whoever won this would... New Zealand were looking to go to the top of Group 1. India were looking to try and get their first win of the competition. The pitch in Rawalpindi was dry and dusty. Dry and dusty. Kenya struggled on a dry and dusty pitch before they ended up scoring 254 for 7. You felt like it could go either way, the coin toss, but Lee Jamon won the toss and elected to bat first. Said that he wanted his side to get 250 and see whether he could chase it down. He did say these pitches in Pakistan at the moment, you stay in for about 30, they sort of do stuff in the 30 overs, for about 30 overs, and then they get flatter as you get used to the conditions, really. Mohammad Azharuddin said, do you know what, having batted first against Sri Lanka, maybe it's not a bad thing for us to be chasing, but we'll have to wait and see what will happen. So New Zealand won the toss, selected to bat first, and this was the outcome of the match. These games are usually quite close between India and New Zealand. Well, I hate to say this, New Zealand fans look away. Not today. Not today. That is the best performance of the tournament. That is the most devastating display from India. New Zealand were never, ever, ever, ever comfortable. They batted the full 50 overs for 177 for 9, but they could have been worse. They were 103 for 7 at one stage. I mean, you look at that scorecard, no one really got going, really. Craig Spearman out for 14. Astle continued his ball form out for 1. Fleming got a start again, but then was caught, 29. 13 for Roger Trose. 9 for Chris Kearns, who had another failure again. Alan Perore made 25 and then was caught behind the wicket. 28 for Harris. A good little partnership of 56 between Captain Lee Jamon and Shane Thompson. Shane Thompson's 35 came off 60 deliveries. Lee Jamon at 30 not out of 71 deliveries. Larson 1 and Danny Morrison 5. They batted before 50 overs. That's the only consolation, but 177 for 9 was never going to be a big enough score. Prasad was brilliant. 3 for 33. 3 for 31 for Javagal Srinath. Manjul Parikh was a bit expensive again, but he bowled his full 10 overs, 146. Venkataki Raju was absolutely fantastic, 0 for 25 off of his 10 overs. Most worrying thing, though, the star bowler Anand Kumble only bowled 3 overs for 13 runs, and he was feeling his bowling hand. Mohammad Azharuddin said in the after-match press conference, said he thinks he may have a finger injury, but he said we're going to try and put it in ice and try and make him fit. Remember, they've got the UAE in 3 days' time, and I'm sure they want him to play against the United Arab Emirates. And Tendulkar bowled 7 overs and was absolutely fantastic. He took 2 for 26 in what was a brilliant all-round performance. Now, they needed 178 to win, India. They did get there in the end, but look at this scorecard. Tendulkar was on another planet today. His first World Cup 100. Remember, he got 94 against Sri Lanka and was then caught due to a really poor shot, and that probably cost a chance for India to get 300 and possibly victory against Sri Lanka. He dominated the entire innings. 127 not out of 125 balls. Ali Jadeja batting up the top of the order this time. They decided to go with Jadeja at the top. Jadeja hit 53 off 75 deliveries and then was out. They lost 2 wickets right near the end, which was disappointing because they were on course at 163 for 0 for a 10-wicket victory, and it would have been the highest run chase ever without a team losing a wicket in one-day international history. 1 for Navrat Sidhu in his first appearance of the tournament. Kamli got 1 not out of 5 deliveries. Tendulkar, masterful. 127 not out of 125 balls. His final 3 balls... 4, he could have ended it, he got a 4, and he could have ended it with a 6. He then decided to play a sort of reverse sweep, which went to the boundary for 4, and knowing that the highest score in the competition was 126 from Mark Waugh against England, he got on to 121. There was a little smile from the little master, and then he hit the final ball of the innings for 6 to go to 127, the highest score of the competition so far, and in the end, 183 for 2 in just 39.4 overs. As emphatic a victory as you will see in this tournament. And in my opinion, that performance from India is the best by a team in this tournament so far. I mean, look at the bowlers they used. Astle, 0 for 21. 1 for 29 for Stephen Fleming. 0 for 21 for Roger Trowes. 18 for 0 for Chris Kearns. Chris Harris, 22 for 0 in his first appearance. Gavin Larson, 20 for 0 and 25 for 0 for Danny Morrison. The only bowler that looked anywhere good. Shane Thompson completed a very good match, personal match himself. He bowled very economically, 1 for 27 off his 10 overs to get his first wicket of the tournament. But it was all about Sachin Tendulkar. The noise when he got his 100 in Rawalpindi, it was 15,000 Indian supporters. And they've seen a wonderful, masterful performance from India. India, New Zealand, Rawalpindi. New Zealand won the toss and let the bat on a dry, dusty pitch in really boiling hot conditions. They never got going. 177 for 9 for 50 overs. Jamon and Lee Jamon and Shane Thompson were the only people who get 30s for New Zealand. 3 for 33 in a wonderful performance from Venkatesh Prasad. And Tendulkar took 2 for 26 or 7 overs. And then followed that up with 127 not out of 125 balls. As India scored 183 for 2 in just 39.4 overs. India winning by 8 wickets in what I think was the best performance by a team in this World Cup so far. And obviously Tendulkar for his 2 for 26 of 7 overs and 127 not out off 125 balls was man of the match. Of course he was. Of course he was. This is what it means. New Zealand up to second in the table. India have their first win of the World Cup, but they haven't got above New Zealand at the moment. They're third on net run rate. New Zealand's still second, but that will probably all change tomorrow. Tomorrow's match, Australia versus Holland. They played each other in the World Cup on 3 occasions. Australia thrashed Holland last time 4 years ago as host nation. One of the only bright points in which I had in the World Cup 4 years ago when they were dumped out in the quarterfinals. Australia looking for a second win out of 2. They shouldn't have too many problems in it for Dutch tomorrow. Holland obviously will be disappointing performance against Kenya to lose. They'll be hoping to be just competitive tomorrow against the Australians. Let's have a look at the star players. Well, let's have a look at one star player in particular. We'll have a look at him last, I think. Sachin Tendulkar. That was masterful from Tendulkar. Absolutely brilliant from Sachin. Genius. New Zealand star players. Well, he's now got an average with a ball. 57, first wicket in the tournament for Shane Thompson. He had a really good match and probably the only one that can be look back at his performance with real pride. New Zealand. 57 with the ball though, averaging 21 with a bat, good score, 35, gained respectability, New Zealand. Spearman failed again, another 14 he got, 28 runs in 2 innings at an average of 14. He's not had a good start to the tournament. Kumble didn't take a wicket, average got up to 26. The most concerning thing was his spinning finger though. Mohammed Azharuddin said they'll do all he can to get fit for the match against the United Arab Emirates. That's in 3 days' time. It's going to be quite interesting there. As for Sachin Tendulkar, 221 average with the bat, thanks to that 127, undefeated 127. What a start to the tournament he's had. Leading run scorer, unsurprisingly. And he's got 2 wickets in 2 matches now. He's got an average of 33 with ball. Look at that average, 221 for Sachin Tendulkar. What a start to the tournament. That was masterful from Tendulkar, and that was the best performance by a team in the tournament. India just didn't let New Zealand settle. Their fielding was superb as well, and their bowling was absolutely sensational as well. Brilliant performance from India, and they've got up and running in the World Cup. Tomorrow's match, Australia versus Holland. Australia looking to make it 2 wins out of 2. They should make it 2 wins out of 2. You never know with what happened with West Indies a few days ago, but Australia should beat the Dutch tomorrow. So we'll see you for tomorrow's match between Australia versus Holland. This is me, Lawrence Howard, port number 98-95 World Cup in Pakistan, been played on Brian Lara Kick and PlayStation. India have beaten New Zealand by 8 wickets, very comfortably in the end, and are up and running in the World Cup. For me, this is Lawrence Howard, bidding you goodbye.